lab has made a big discovery lately. Imipramine, a tricyclic antidepressant, can be used to treat a very deadly form of lung cancer, small cell lung cancer.
That's right.
Tell us how you found this out.
Imipramine is a well-known antidepressant. It's not really commonly used today. We have newer antidepressants to go with in the field of psychiatry. But what it has been studied by researchers. And the way we get to findings like this really is by taking advantage of a new revolution in open data, big open data. What it's turned out is that scientists now have been measuring products of the Genome Project, looking at the different blueprints, different molecules. And amazingly now, because of the journals and because of the funding agencies, they have to share that data on the internet today. So, for example, if we have diseases measured by scientists and drugs measured by scientists, we can actually mash these two up because they're measuring the same molecules. So if we see genes changing one way in the disease and genes in the reverse way with a drug, we make these connections. And that's exactly what happened here with imipramine and small cell lung cancer. Small cell lung cancer is a fatal disease, essentially 5% survival in 5 years. Not a lot of new fancy therapeutics, targeted therapeutics yet for this disease. And what we realized is that this class of drugs could work. So that the next step after making a computer prediction is to go test in a mouse model, test in cell lines, and that's what was published last week.
What sort of response did you see in your mouse models?
These are special mice that get small cell lung cancer because specific genes were knocked out. These are knockout mice, so they're missing those genes. So typically humans get small cell lung cancer over decades of smoking. These mice will develop their lung cancer in a couple weeks once these genes are knocked out. And so exactly in this case, it looks like these mice that were dosed with this class of drugs, actually the cancers melted away. That was an amazing story for us, and it's a great paper, of course, but what's really exciting in my view is that we've then taken that finding and have already gotten ethics board approval here at Stanford, and we have the first set of patients recruited and in a trial on this drug. And it's kind of amazing to me, we can now get from computer prediction with public open data to a drug in trials in, 15, 18, 20 months. Typically it could take years to get a brand new drug to patients, and so we can do this in a matter of months now.
Right, so it makes all the difference that this drug is already FDA approved.
That's right, it's FDA approved, it's already in clinical practice. It has some known side effects, absolutely. It can make people sleepy, it can affect their heart, give certain people arrhythmias, but at the same time, those both seem better than having lung cancer, right? Dying from lung cancer. So in certain cases, we can tolerate some of the side effects because we're using for a drug, for a disease that we really don't have much other choice for.
And potentially you could use these techniques to identify other FDA-approved medications as well.
Absolutely. So the computational methodology, for sure, we can make other connections between drugs and diseases. We spin out a company called Numeti to do exactly that. But it also helps drive the science. So now we can go back and study, why is it this drug has an effect on this cancer? What is the receptor involved? What are the biological systems involved there? And then perhaps develop novel therapeutics, maybe faster or slower, who knows? But figure out what is the story, the biological story there that's causing this drug to work in this way.
And you said that big data, summed up in one word, is that it can give hope.
It's hope. It's all about hope.
It can answer unanswered questions. Tell me a little more about that.
Yeah, so I think we often think about big data and think about the quantitative side of it and perhaps the nerds and geeks and hackers and computers, but actually it's the effects of the big data that are the most important here, right? Not necessarily the technologies. I love technology. We're in Silicon Valley. We have plenty of technology companies around us. But big data and biomedicine is all about what we're doing with this technology. And it is finding new uses for drugs. It is figuring out ways to predict which disease is going to happen to individuals at a time when they can do something about it. It's a way to really figure out what is going on with that rare child that we really have never seen before, and maybe even come up with a therapy. But it's also a matter of learning which therapies work and don't work for patients by looking at electronic health record systems, and hopefully someday really figuring out how to deliver the healthcare, the highest quality healthcare at the lowest cost to patients, because that's part of big data as well. And all that, I really sum up with the word hope. I mean, I think big data delivers hope for patients and for families and providers.
And what's coming up in Dr. Atul Butte's lab?
So I think if I have to look at what's happening, in our little secret skunk works, I think the next big revolution is going to be on clinical trials data. As you heard me talk, I think a lot of clinical trials fail in the world, and those failed trials really never really make it to publication. So forget about even getting data. We hardly ever even see a patient or a publication out of that. so patients and doctors don't really learn from those failures. That has to change. I think we're helping, we have an initiative called IMPORT, which is funded by the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Disease, NIAID. So NIAID funded trials, big trials. The raw data from those trials is now released and open to the public. And you can go in and see how did each patient do in this trial. Even if someone says this trial failed, it doesn't matter. Maybe it worked in a handful of people. And what if we could figure out it worked in these patients in this trial and the same kind of patients in this other trial? Maybe we got 2 trials showing, boy, this drug is working in a subset of patients, what they would call personalized medicine or precision medicine. What's neat is the public can go in and figure this out, right? And by public, I mean that high school kid who knows how to do this using quantitative tools. So if I had to put the future on something, it's going to be on clinical trials data. The journals are going to require it, then the funding agencies, and then the patients are all going to require that this data get out there so others can learn about what's going on in these trials.